Who's making Princess Peach? Which of Nintendo's many studios are developing the March tentpole title for Switch? Often we don't find game developer information from Nintendo until the release date, but there are a few pieces of evidence that would allow us to make some educated guesses. Let's look at 5 prime candidates and then evaluate the evidence to see who is the likeliest of all. Candidate 1. Next Level Games. A Western developer on paper makes a lot of sense for Princess Peach. Having a professional hostage down from distress type character as a lead may not make waves in Japan, but in the West it doesn't play nearly as well. Nintendo clearly recognised this problem with Peach's character by giving her a much more active role in the Mario movie, and since this game clearly piggybacks off the success of the character in that film, it would be a rather odd move to retreat from that more daring portrayal of the character. In this sense, just as Retro being a Western developer was seen as a good fit for Metroid Prime, a series which achieved much more success outside Japan than within it, it makes sense for Next Level Games to be shouldering this one on their own. A common observation is that the polished look of Princess Peach levels is redolent of the slick, diorama-style look of Luigi's Mansion 3, and certainly Next Level Games are nothing if not geniuses at this kind of cartoony animation. Nevertheless, I think the chances are relatively low that Next Level are responsible. Yes, since being acquired by Nintendo they have been expanding, and yes, they have said that they are capable of multiple games at once, but they put out Mario Strikers Battle League in only 2022, and it seems impossible to imagine that they are not working on Luigi's Mansion 4 but relatively early in the next console's life cycle, given that Luigi's Mansion 3 hit 8-figure sales and often hovered around the Switch's top 10, a place it could easily claim if not for the huge number of Switch games with the juggernaut sales figures. Mario Strikers was clearly a rather rushed endeavour, and perhaps Princess Peach Showtime is quite a short game, so it's not impossible the Next Level Games are behind it, but I don't think it's necessarily a high likelihood. Candidate 2. Goodfeel. Goodfeel are the developers behind Yoshi's Crafted World, Kirby's Epic Yarn, and Wario Land Shake It. Now, having a succession of Nintendo platformers under their belt from 3 different Nintendo franchises and no Nintendo release in 2019 positions them well for a new Switch release, but that's still not killer evidence. Also, I noticed people such as YouTube Speculation King Andre's Restart ruling out Goodfeel, given that they have recently released their own original title, the polysyllabically named Otogi Katsugeki Mameda no Bakaru Oracle Setaro no Sonan. Nevertheless, having 2 concurrent games in development wouldn't be completely unprecedented for Goodfeel, which has grown up in size from around 100 people when it was finishing up Crafted World to 130, 140 in recent years. Creating your own title is a risk, whereas a contract with Nintendo feels like a safer bet for a smaller games company, so I can see that they might prefer to have 2 projects rather than just one in development. Historically, they have managed this with work on 3DS titles alongside their Switch titles, and while Switch titles are slightly larger development prospects, it's not unprecedented for them to have a second string development team working on something separate. Basically, don't count Goodfeel out. Another tick in the box of Goodfeel is that evidence has surfaced that the game is made using Unreal Engine 4, in common with only 2 first-party Switch titles, Pikmin 4 and Goodfeel's own Yoshi's Crafted World. Let's stick a pin in the Unreal Engine theme for now though, until we've looked at other prime candidates. Incidentally, if you want to learn more about the origin of Goodfeel, do check out my developer deep dive into the company from last year, where I looked at how the company came to be and how it has evolved. Candidate 3. Nintendo's internal 3D Mario studio, EPD8, in Tokyo. I've seen the case being made that this is an in-house job from EPD8 at Tokyo, the Wunderkind team who made Super Mario Odyssey. Now, chilling between big tentpole releases by cranking out a smaller title is not unprecedented for these guys. They also helmed the Captain Toad Treasure Tracker games, and even Donkey Kong Barrel Blast back in the day, and Nintendo does like to give their younger devs free rein now and then to do things slightly differently. It's this kind of original thinking that gave us something as new and different as Splatoon after all. Still, it seems like extra games from the Odyssey team are favourite rumours. They were also allegedly working on Donkey Kong title. Still, it feels like extra games from the Odyssey team are favourite among rumour mongers. They were also allegedly working on a new Donkey Kong title, and while I don't rule these possibilities out in any way, it feels more like wishful thinking than anything with a solid evidence base. Candidate 4. Tose. The last of the common claims is that Tose of Super Princess Peach are rebooting their royal department, but while Tose are still making games and most recently did do support work on Nintendo titles such as Splatoon 2, Paper Mario the Origami King, Famicom Detective Club, and WarioWare Getting Together, the original director at Nintendo, Azusa Tajima, seems to have left producing work some time ago, with her last first-party title being Sing Party in 2012. It's certainly not impossible that Tose could be back, but I don't see any particular reason, except for the fact that many years ago they did work on a Princess Peach game, to think that in this case they are the developers. Enough time has passed that I think Nintendo has probably moved on. Candidate 5. Anyone else? Look, Nintendo have been making deals with so many game companies in recent years that it's perfectly possible that it could be a studio they haven't worked with before or haven't worked with in a long time. From Mages on Famicom Detective Club, Way Forward on Advance Wars, Arc System Works on Another Code, they've been cultivating many more relationships with other studios. I think it's a little unlikely that it will be someone new, if only because all the aforementioned examples are remakes rather than brand new games. That's not to say they don't ever give new games to outside studios late in the console's life. Remember, Arzest took on the obscure and unloved 3DS platformer Hey Pikmin in 2017, but this seems like a slightly higher value project than Hey Pikmin, and I really don't think they're going to give it to a company that they don't have absolute 100% full confidence in. So, we've got our 5 candidates, let's try and sort out likelihoods. It might help us out if we knew the producer. Even when games are contracted out to other studios, Nintendo usually has one of its key figures supervising. Kensuke Tanabe is famous, or perhaps infamous, as the producer of Paper Mario, Luigi's Mansion, and the Metroid Prime titles. I think we can make a decent guess at who the producer is. We can probably assume that Nintendo will want someone steeped in Mario lore to be shepherding a project like this, and while this could apply to many of their senior producers, the fact is that Takashi Tezuka handled previous Mario spin-offs such as Yoshi's Crafted World, and he also handled Pikmin 4. What do these two games have in common? Yep, they're both Unreal Engine 4 projects. If Tezuka is the producer Nintendo most comfortable with developing using Unreal Engine 4, it stands to reason that he'd be heading the project, and if we look at devs with Unreal experience, that does put Goodfeel in the lead. On this basis, and on the basis that I think they probably could handle a second game at once, I'm going to put as a 50% forecast that Goodfeel are the developers of this one, with all the other options possible but too small to meaningfully give figures to. But don't take my word for it. Let me know in the comments below what your assessment is. We'll soon see who the developers actually are. In the meantime, a huge thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. Take care everyone, and see you soon.